IVM.
Hey guys, even though Elon Musk is trying to turn everyone into robots, you'll be happy to know that very real human beings work at IVM Podcast, and some of them are even cool. How do I know? Well, listen to their own podcast, IVM Likes, where they recommend what they are listening to, watching, or reading. Catch IVM Likes every Monday on iTunes, Stitcher, or anywhere you listen to podcasts. And may I recommend the IVM Podcasts app. Hi everybody, welcome to a new episode of the Geek Fruit Podcast, like we have one every week. I just like saying new though, it feels fresh.
A brand new.
Yes, a brand spanking new episode.
Nice.
And like so, we have 4 new shows and new things of content. What are they? That's TV and film, so I don't know what
you know what
it.
I think our New Year's resolution for 2018 should be?
What?
I'm hating the word content now. Like, I think I'm sick of it.
Are you discontent?
I am very discontent with the idea of content.
Okay.
And the trouble is people don't know when they use content and content. So we're a content marketing company, but clearly not. Don't know what you stand for.
I thought it was content for the longest time.
Yeah.
But I just hate the idea now that everything from a Twitter feed to a TV show is content.
But that's because all 3 of us work in the field, in the industry of content. But I think to a layperson who works
I don't know about you, I make art.
Okay, sure.
Making art right now.
Okay, I'll let you have that one. But we all work in the field which uses the jargon or the lexicon. The term content is literally what we do, because we're not making art. That's for damn sure.
Speak for yourself, Tejas.
This what we're doing right now is art.
This is art.
Yeah.
The rest of it, our music and our comedy, all of that's the content.
Yeah.
But the Geek Fruit Podcast, this, my friends, is art.
Speaking of art, I just wanted to put this out there. But Elton John is retiring.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, what's up with that?
That's the first
Why?
thing I read this morning, and I just wanted to talk. I just want to put it out there that
I don't get
I'm
it.
quite upset.
But on the bright side, Sting and Shaggy have an album together.
What is happening there?
And it's launching on 420.
Oh my gosh.
What is going on?
Yeah,
what is Sting doing?
Dude, Sting does what Sting wants to do.
Hey man, I think Sting just called Shaggy for I'm out of marijuana. Would you sort me out?
Yeah.
And, I'm going to push a song on him. With my marijuana.
God. Nice.
Can you imagine Sting singing "It Wasn't Me"?
It wasn't me. Yeah, that's basically what it would sound like.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm excited. Moving on. Sorry, swiftly. What are we going to be talking about today? We're going to be reviewing a lot of things that came out.
We're going to be reviewing an entire month. Yeah.
Actually, one of the things that we are reviewing, which is Philip K. Dick's Electric Dreams, not Android Dreams.
Yeah.
By the way, that was what Blade Runner was going to be called. Electric Sheep.
Androids dream of
Android
electric
dreams,
sheep?
No, then they shortened it. One of the working titles was Android's Dream, and then they were just like, no, 2049
That's a bad
is just
title.
easier.
As opposed to a Blade Runner. Which
And it gives us 2048 prequels to make.
How did they come up with Blade Runner? Do you know?
Blade Runner? Because I think they
Because
were
it's a pretty random term.
Yeah, no, I think it was Ridley Scott. He just said we can't call them
what sounds cool?
What sounds
Blade
cool? Yeah.
Runner.
Yeah, it really doesn't mean anything.
Yeah,
actually,
it's got no significance in the
just
story.
It's a cool title, and they just stuck with it. But when you think Blade Runner, it's a great. This is just you could just think of the visuals. So it's I think they won in terms of. Yeah.
They had great branding.
Good branding.
That piece of content had solid branding.
This is true. Right, so, but what is it? Electric Sheep? What is it? Electric Dreams?
Electric
That's
Dreams.
what
Philip K. Dick's Electric Dreams?
on Amazon Prime and Channel 4. Well, that came out in September. So I feel like we should have a rule that if it has, say, 10 episodes and it came out in September, in a normal practice, if you watch one episode a week, then we'd end by around Jan. So I think it still counts as something
as being a Jan show.
I did not hear about this show until today.
What,
No?
really?
Yeah.
It's a big deal of a show.
It's a huge show. Bryan Cranston producing.
But it's also weirdly quiet. I don't blame you because
No, that's because you guys are just real Netflix snobs. And that's true.
I'm a Prime boy.
You're not a Prime boy.
Of course I'm a Prime boy.
You're an iBoy, which is a Netflix original.
Yeah, that's
I'm a star boy. I'm a star.
But
I love all of the content on Prime Video.
Great content.
Yeah. Simply the best content.
No, but for real, what's the ratio of your watching, Amazon Prime to Netflix? I'm sure it's heavily skewed
It's
in
heavily
the favor
skewed
of
towards
Netflix.
60, 30, 10.
And here's why. Because the Netflix interface is just prettier and it's
Yeah.
nicer.
Yeah, I
And
think that's a
true.
big part of it.
Yeah, it's just nicer to browse.
The one thing I like about Amazon Prime Video, I also hate, which is that, what's it called, Magic Wand or whatever, where
X-ray.
X-ray, correct.
Yeah, I like it.
Where
I
it pops
love
up
it.
everyone's names. It's handy, but also it means I can't normally pause the thing anymore.
Yeah, it's just true.
Like, as soon as I pause, there's like big overlay, and I'm like,
No,
just-
but it's a tiny overlay and then you can expand the overlay.
Ah,
There's
okay.
more. There's
Yeah.
more of an overlay.
Perhaps I haven't explored it enough.
They'll show you songs and lyrics and everything if you want, like, It's,
Oh.
Yeah,
for
it is
certain theme
pretty cool
songs,
that way.
yeah.
And you can click through to people's IMDb's and whatnot, which is super handy.
Oh
Yeah.
no, I love Amazon, man.
So-
Like,
Yeah, it's
So
good.
I love 50s doo-wops a lot sometimes, and when I was watching Marvelous Mrs. Maisel,
yeah,
on,
I've heard of
Prime,
her. That's she just got nominated or she won
yeah,
or something.
it's gone for Emmys though.
No, in the Golden Globes.
Oh,
she
Golden
won.
Globes also
she won, yes.
Did she win?
Yeah, I think
Yes,
so.
I
nice.
think so.
Good
Yeah.
for her.
Yeah, it's good. And Amazon Alexa, Amazon Echo, whatever thing.
I'll
it
tell you
is.
why I end up
It's great.
watching a lot of
Love
Netflix
Amazon.
sometimes.
Yeah.
I might just be like sitting there going, what do I want to watch? And I'll open like a Netflix or a Prime Video with nothing in mind.
Yeah.
And in those times, I will default to Netflix because I'm like, I'm paying more for that. Paisa vasool karne ka hai.
No, you're not paying more for it. You're already
Yes, I
paying
am.
for your Prime delivery, and that's why you get Prime
I
Video.
know. So,
Yeah.
That's
so
a weird thing. How do those things
I
get
need
clubbed
to,
together?
I have the very Indian sensibility of saying, if I'm paying for this, I better get my money's worth. As opposed to Prime Video, which I'm like,
No,
oh, that's
it's-
already there.
It's so bizarre how they said, hey, if you get Amazon Prime delivery, you can also watch our video. Anything that the word Prime
And yeah.
is under one guy.
It's pretty ridiculous.
Which is weird.
But that's how they
like
creep in, right? Like
Optimus
Music
Prime.
now,
Back
they're going to
when-
give you music under
Yeah.
the same umbrella.
Earlier, when we had Blockbuster and Netflix was slowly creeping into the market, they were doing like small time packages. Like, you want to order one movie, get one more movie free. For
Yeah.
once.
Yeah.
That sort of stuff. And now they are the biggies.
Yeah.
So I think Prime is trying to slowly undercut them and see.
Basically, they're
Amazon.
giving you everything.
And
They're
Amazon,
like,
one
what do you
second.
want? Onions? We've got that.
Yeah, but-
you want movies? We have that as well.
And you can cry while watching these movies.
Yeah.
Using
And then
the
one day
onions.
Disney will take over Amazon as well, and then complete package.
Yeah. And they
Or
have, one
I
second,
think it's
you
more
forgot the
likely
third
we'll be
thing.
left with only Disney and Amazon.
You
and we'll
forgot
all
the
be
third
dead.
thing that Amazon have, which is like the game breaker, which is the Kindle, dog.
Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah.
I'm
and
not
I
a big
love
fan,
that.
so-
I'm a huge fan.
We've had multiple debates on this.
Kindle is the best.
I mean, they have everything. They have that Amazon Go store where you can walk in and walk out now. Which
What's that?
It's a store. It's a
like
physical store.
Go and select
Yeah.
things you want.
So you basically walk in. You just check in with your Prime account as you go in. You walk in, pick up whatever you want off the shelf, and walk out. And they just charge it to your account directly.
nice. So it's a
Yeah.
physical store with
It's
a
a physical
digital...
store.
But they also have digital screens and shit, right?
Yeah.
Ah.
Like you press and you walk at the end, the checkout thing, they have the entire thing
Lovely.
ready
I
for
love
you.
it. That's
Yeah.
great. That's...
Jetsons.
Yeah,
But
it's,
they
it's
did that
very
with food.
Jetsons.
Okay. All right, we're going to take a short break since we've talked so much about Amazon and stuff.
So that was a review of Electric Dreams.
We're going to come back and talk about all the shows and the movies we watched in January.
Hi, I'm Ambika.
I'm Hoshna. Over the last couple of years during our travels across India, we've had the privilege to meet and interact with a number of passionate people who are involved in preservation or conservation of a local heritage, art form or culture, or even environment and wildlife.
So, in this season, we shine a light on some of these individuals and organizations and the work they are doing, many of whom are using travel as a means to give back to their communities.
By showcasing these wonderful people and bringing their work to a larger audience, it's our small way of aiding their effort and giving you an opportunity to be part of a unique travel experience. New episodes of the Rediscovery Podcast out every Monday on IVM Podcasts.
All right, we're back. Let's talk about Electric Dreams for real this time.
Yeah,
Naveen, you have not seen it.
Yeah, tell me about it.
So Electric Dreams is an anthology show based on the themes of Philip K. Dick stories.
And some
I
of the
wanna say.
short stories as well.
And yeah, so it is the short stories, but they're adapted.
Some have been
essentially.
directly adapted. Like the one that I think both of us watched is a direct
Is a direct adaptation, which shows by
Which
the way.
shows, yeah.
So yeah, basically it's the stories and ideas of Philip K. Dick turned into an anthology show along the lines of your Black Mirrors and whatnot, or Twilight Zone.
I
things
want to
like
say Black Mirror. It's kind of strange. Like this show has been created, I'm assuming, in the wake of Black Mirror,
Literally
and
as competition for Black Mirror.
Yeah, being so popular. But Black Mirror itself is so heavily inspired by a lot of these themes. which
by
Philip
the
K.
same
Dick
stories,
originally.
in fact. So they bought the rights, though.
Yeah, I guess.
Amazon walked into a store, picked up the rights, and walked out.
No, it's not. I don't think it's a case of of whether Black Mirror, I think Charlie Brooker's just like that kind of guy. He just wanted to write stuff which is anyway dystopian, and I'm sure he's been quite inspired by...
So basically he's combined sci-fi with Twilight Zone, for example. And then,
Exactly.
then
Sort
what
of,
we
yes.
have.
Yeah. And it's a pretty heavyweight of a show. It's produced by Bryan Cranston and another dude who's done a bunch of stuff, whose name I forget.
Even I forget it. And
and every episode has like a stellar cast.
Yeah, great cast, man. The first episode that we watched had Anna Paquin, who's most popularly known as Rogue.
True Blood.
Yeah.
Oh,
And from
yes.
True Blood.
and
Yeah,
True
but
Blood.
nerds know as, I guess as True Blood, I suppose.
Yeah.
I've not seen True Blood.
And
But
Rogue. I forgot she was Rogue.
yeah.
When she was very young.
And that's exactly the kind of role she played. A forgettable one. But she's good in this. And who else is there? Terrence Howard, who's really good in this. Unfortunately, the story is a little basic. Do you
this
think
is
if this
episode
show
1.
came out before Black Mirror, this would be a little more, watchable?
No, I don't think so. It's a good episode. I'll just give you an outline of the plot, Naveen and listener. It's so Anna Paquin plays a cop in a futuristic sort of setting, who witnesses like a
She's mourning the loss of her partner. or
of
something.
like a bunch of her partners. Basically, like there's a shootout of some kind when a bust goes wrong, and almost everyone dies except her and one other person. At the same time, her wife has invented some sort of technology that lets you leap into essentially an avatar in a parallel world. It's like a real life situation, and the episode is called Real Life. And whenever she does that, she jumps into Terrence Howard's body, who is a billionaire whose wife was brutally murdered, and he's trying to deal with that. So whenever he goes into his real life sim, he jumps into Anna Paquin's body, and the entire episode is basically
It's
like
a question, like which
a
one is
45-minute
real?
meditation on where are we, which is the real world.
Which is the real world. So there's really just one kind of... It's not even like a theme. It's more like you're watching a interesting story, but it's not like really... they very briefly touch upon it at the end. Oh, this is what it is, But like the real meditation, which should have been really upon like grief and how people cope with grief and stuff, which is what I think the episode should have been about, instead becomes like which one's real?
Yeah,
Which
this is
one's
the problem
the
with
real
it,
one?
which is why I don't know if it would work even in a pre-Black Mirror era.
I still think production wise it's fairly slick and it's good, and the acting is
It's a
great.
great looking show.
And
Good
Sam
acting.
Witwer's there in it. Sorry, I just wanted to say that.
correct,
Who's
correct.
Darth Maul in Star Wars Rebels and Emperor Palpatine. Sorry, I just want to put that out. He's my boy. So, but yeah, man, like otherwise the show is fairly like... it felt a lot like Twilight Zone.
Yes,
Sorry, more
exactly.
than Black Mirror.
Yeah.
Like it's just like, oh, this is a creepy situation. That's it, and that's about it. So I didn't feel like there was much depth in that. But
think
having said that, we did watch an episode out of order, so we don't know whether it's the first one.
This feels like a quieter episode in the middle of action-packed episode.
Yeah, but question though, should an anthology series be measured
On each individual episode.
yeah, or
Yes.
should it be watched like in a series and then say, oh, but it had a balance of everything? I don't think.
No,
it's
I
supposed to
don't
be
think
that
so.
way.
It should be episode by episode. So this is a weaker episode, but overall, I'd say the show looks promising.
I always feel like track ordering in albums is very important.
It
Right?
is,
Like
yeah.
you take this song out of context, and then it can be a good song, it can be a great song, or it can be a weird song. But when you put it in context, suddenly it makes sense. So I still feel I feel like that should apply.
Yeah.
Here, like similarly in a book of short stories. I mean, I don't know what your policy is on that, but like I feel like if
Start with a bang.
Yeah, start with a bang, sure, but like a variety of it. I mean, it depends on what
And that's
what
why
you're
for
trying
the
to
longest
achieve.
time, until Black Mirror, there were no good anthology series. After like Twilight Zone, for the longest time, we've seen a dearth of... Because even now, we don't know about these shows, right?
Yeah.
Like, I didn't hear about Electric Dreams, even though I'm invested in sci-fi and other stuff. Even Easy, which came on Netflix, was... season 2 came out and they promoted season 2 much more than the first season.
Right.
Yeah.
It's again like, love, sex, relationship sort of thing.
Yeah.
But anthology.
Yeah,
right?
different stories. Again, great cast over there.
I think
as well.
Dear White People is also similar, right? It's
No,
an
Dear White
anthology?
People is one story.
It's one
Yeah.
story?
Yeah,
Oh, okay, cool.
in this
All right.
campus. So I think now with time we're slowly discovering that we can tell individual stories in a series as well. Because tenacity of a person who's watching or anything is to have a cliffhanger and then go to the next episode.
Yeah.
What I do with short stories, if there's different short stories, I read one story and I want to read the other one just out of interest.
Of course, yeah.
So that's what people don't have now. The gauging of interest is gone.
Yeah.
So they don't know if we should make more anthology series because everybody wants to do that. Like, it's easy money for everybody. The director gets money, the actors get money.
And it's
I
like a
agree.
one shot.
Yeah.
No, so you're saying people are not in favor of anthology series?
Yeah, I feel generally there's like a disinterest in that.
I
That's
feel
because
like-
they like
yeah.
to see things that are connected. I mean, why is the Marvel Cinematic Universe
Yeah.
working so well? It's because they are like the possibility is there that a character can show up in a different film, etc. So I think that's probably why people usually want to keep it. But I feel like in the kind of series that Black Mirror or Twilight Zone for that matter, the kind of series that they are, is that they're like you can't tie them all together because you want to explore like radically different kind of concepts and things like that, and you can't. And sometimes the best way to tell a story is to do it in a very absolutely bizarre setting. Even I've not seen this season of Black Mirror, but like even if you take like the previous season, the first one which came out on Netflix, you compare the first one, which was the fact that she's living in this society where everything is being rated or whatever it is. It takes that kind of setting to tell the statement of the story. You have to make it absolutely unreal. Or take a film like Equilibrium, which we talk about so much on this show. It's so weird. That's why we love the movie. But like, you can't make a sequel. You can't make a longer thing out of it because the setting is bizarre, so that you can just tell that one story and
the
then be done
allure
with
of it dies after some time.
Yeah.
Here's my theory. I feel like an anthology or one-shots and mini-series, all of which are making a comeback now, is largely because there are huge, this is like a logistics thing, but there are huge budgets now in your television and streaming productions.
Yeah.
And this gives creators the opportunity to essentially do a movie and then like leave. They can bounce. So they're not tied down for like the next 10 years, which explains the rise of the anthology series. Not just episodic, but season-wise, like your True Detective, American Horror Story.
Yeah. You can tell Fargo, I suppose. I also feel like, so I was just checking.
Auteur-driven season.
What was that?
The auteur-driven
Auteur-driven,
series.
like a Noah Hawley or whatever it is. I was about to watch Black Mirror season 4, episode 1, and I checked the running time. It was 1 hour 20 minutes, and I was just like, I'm gonna watch it. Like, I couldn't make the commitment.
You haven't seen the season, right?
No, I haven't.
But as I was saying, like it's difficult to do anthology and tell one entire universe story.
I know you have a theory that it is
And
all
it's
connected.
proved right.
So I don't.
Yeah,
I
it's
don't,
true.
Yeah.
So I don't know much about it. But if you guys can talk about Black Mirror without spoiling it too much,
Not spoiling
I would love
it.
to
It's just
hear
like one episode features the tech from other shows, other episodes.
I see.
Just to give like a narrative.
I haven't gotten to that episode.
Yeah.
So I've watched the first 3.
I think
4.
it's happened before. The technology from the entire history of US featured
So
in
before
something
it's been
else
Easter
as
eggs,
well.
but apparently now it's like
bang in your face.
explicitly mentioned.
I think also maybe perhaps he's getting like you can't recreate entirely new universes each and every
Plus
episode.
technology, man. Like if you have those rewinding technology in your eyelids, there's only so many times you can do it till it becomes stale. So they just have to like retell them in different stories, try to incorporate
Also the
them
potential.
Like that.
Sometimes you can create a concept. Like like time travel has been for so many stories. Is that concept cannot be fully explored in just one story, and I'm sure there are multiple ways of approaching it and so many different perspectives.
This is the other thing. One reason Black Mirror works so well as a series, and we don't just talk about it as like, well, this was a good episode, this was a terrible episode, is because it has an overarching theme at the end of the day. It's about how
It's
humans
dystopia.
deal. It's dystopia, but with like a very specific focus on how humans deal with technology. I feel like that's the one theme that comes off of everyone. Whereas with Electric Dreams, it's leaning towards will technology kill us all, essentially.
Oh, really?
I mean,
from
the first two, that's what it seems like.
Well, for me, what I gathered from Electric Dreams, and I hope it's different from Black Mirror. I don't want it to be like Black Mirror. Like, and here's the reason why I picked Electric Dreams. I mean, the other thing was I was just like, I don't want to feel like shitty about myself, which is why I don't want to watch Black Mirror right now. And we've discussed this in a previous episode about Black Mirror, but Charlie Brooker himself has said that Black Mirror, whatever that happens in the show, whatever that ensues, is it's like 2-3 steps away if we're not careful. That's what he usually says, and he says like this is what's probably going to happen if we're being as stupid as we can possibly be. But with the state of the world, you never know.
So there's a massive tone change I feel in season 4 of Black Mirror in generally, because like after San Junipero became like a major hit for
He's
them.
like, what if I explore a happy ending?
Yeah, happy ending. So we see it twice in the 4th season where there's like it's not as dystopian or as depressing.
You know what? That makes it even scarier to watch because you're just like it's like you're bracing yourself for like a missile to hit, and then it
Yeah.
just doesn't. And then sometimes they can like lure you into a sense of like,
No, there are hits,
You know.
and then there are like
Yeah.
there's salvaging also, like that kind of stuff.
yeah.
Yeah, this was a odd. Let's transition into Black
Sure.
Mirror. Explain your feelings about Black Mirror this season, Naveen, because I
So-
felt it was like weirdly inconsistent.
Do you guys mind giving me maybe like just a gist of say a couple of episodes? Like what is the setting and
episode
stuff?
1, you might have seen promos for and whatnot. It's the Star Trek looking
Right,
episode.
Spin-off,
right.
Yeah. So it starts off like the first
You
couple
can't
of
spoil it for him though. Like it's,
Yeah,
it's
actually, I
too
can't
good to
spoil
be.
it.
Yeah, it's just like it's a company's made it possible for humans to be on Star Trek as an adventure.
Okay, fair
pretty
enough.
much.
Okay.
Except what's
So-
it called? Space time.
Space
or something.
Fleet.
Space Fleet.
Sure. Orville, Space Fleet.
Yeah, and that's what the story revolves around. So yeah, it's again like taking something like Orville, or like even if Orville is taking Star Trek as a thing and parodying it,
Yeah.
this is going one step ahead from that,
Ah.
with obviously Black
Yeah.
Mirrorizing it.
Nice.
My
nice.
favorite episode was second episode of the season, which
Which is?
initially Archangel.
Right, yeah.
Okay, which initially like was not that impressive, but the more I dwelled on it, the more it's like, okay, this is 2-3 steps away from happening. Basically, because it's a woman who's given birth to a child after a lot of difficulties,
Mm-hmm.
and there's new technology available which makes sure that you can see what your child sees.
Yeah.
So she's safe at any point. You can block blood images of dogs and stuff they don't want to see. And she starts using this on her kid.
Oh, that's solid.
It's-
That's so good.
and
Just
then-
straight up, that's such a good idea.
Yeah, and then she grows up, right? And through her years, we see her transition.
wow,
It's
that's
a
excellent.
weird one.
Yeah.
I feel like you're right. This is very close to
Happening, yeah. So
But
how we had.
oddly
the
enough,
first
I
episode.
felt it was one of the weaker episodes.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but
even
that's
though
what,
the theme was this strong. Maybe
Just-
because the theme was this strong, I felt like it didn't.
So I watched
do
it
enough.
again just
Yeah.
to like, because the way the camera works as well, like you see everything from the mother's perspective in the beginning of it.
Yeah.
So when she's struggling, when she's giving birth, there's pain on her face. When she loses a child for the first time, there's a lot of anguish on her face.
Yeah.
So you see what's motivating her, but she's also not anticipating what's coming to haunt her in the later part of the episode.
Yes.
So-
Yeah,
so
again,
it
that's
is. Yeah,
the
it's
story of
solidly
technology
made.
in the
I
world.
know,
yeah.
I think especially the ending, which we won't get into. I just felt like, come on, no.
So
Okay.
so 3 episodes in this season
By the way,
are not as dystopian.
wait, I will throw this in. This technology lets you see whatever your kid is seeing, and if your kid is seeing something you don't want them to see, you can pixelate it in real life.
Yeah. So it's essentially like taking Google like search blocker, like basically like a
Yeah.
filter, parental filter.
Pretty
Yeah,
much.
Is-
Yeah.
yeah.
A parental filter on your kid's life.
Oh, that's interesting, man. And that's such a good idea. Yeah,
Yeah, it is.
so it sounds like excellent.
Mm.
Oh, cool, man. So I
Third-
think
yeah.
so. Is Black Mirror? Would you say that they Would you say that from season 1 to season 3, at least for me, I've seen the production quality of the show gotten better, but the writing has been fairly consistent. Is it still consistent with the rest of
It
the?
is. It is.
Yeah?
It's a piece with all of Black
Nice,
Mirror so far.
excellent. Nice.
Especially
Except for
with-
those like talk about the 2 happy episodes.
Okay. So one's called Hang the DJ.
Yeah.
And the second is
This is the thing that
Callister is also happy.
Happy, yeah. And
I've
then
seen,
the last episode also is got like
This is-
I can't say anything because it'll be like.
No, that's fine. So just tell
So
why don't we talk about
three
Hang the
episodes are more
DJ?
hopeful.
Yeah.
Hang the DJ is
Because
about.
I saw a lot of Facebook statuses.
Yeah,
surely after the
so
fact.
obviously they're trying to pick up after San Junipero, like for feels in terms of how
Ah,
two people in love would
feels.
feel like. But also now that I think about Hang the DJ as well, it's not as hopeful.
Yeah.
In the Black Mirror sense of the term,
Yeah.
because the whole construct is that this guy and this girl meet, and it's a future where we meet them, where you have a deadline for like how you. Okay,
As soon as you meet a person, so everyone's got this like little device and that's connected to a thing called the system.
Yeah.
Where as soon as you meet someone, it says something like 48 hours, and that's how long your relationship with them will last.
Oh, okay, I see.
Or 3 years, or like a
A
lifetime.
lifetime, yeah.
So the system is
yeah.
designed to help you find true love, and through all the matrices and everything, you'll find your eventual partner. So this guy and girl meet up, and they really fall for each other. But the system is like you have only 24 hours together.
And you have to follow the system.
Yeah, you can't not. There's people watching you and everything.
Wow.
So it's not a
So
suggestion like, hey.
is this for everybody or it's just
Everybody,
an app like
everyone,
a Tinder
everyone.
or something?
So it's an app which is like built in the system. So you
Oh,
live in that
but
So
system.
the
within this-
system
within-
is also like a physical place,
Yeah,
basically.
yeah.
Nice.
And if you live in the system, this is how you have to live.
You
I
eat,
see.
you copulate, everything within the system as
Okay,
well.
I see. Oh, that's cool, man. Dude.
And the best thing, okay, in that episode, there are rickshaws, self-driving rickshaws that
Yeah.
drive you. So you meet them at a restaurant, and the rickshaw tells you where to go because they have
man.
the system has a house for you to as well. So the rickshaw drives you there, and then like you come.
A self-driving rickshaw sounds like an oxymoron, but yeah,
Yeah.
just technology-wise. But yeah, man, dude. Every time I think, oh man, I really don't want to watch Black Mirror, but like when you guys describe it, it's just like it's such fresh cool ideas.
It's cool ideas.
Yeah, which is why it makes it so special.
So episode
That's
5
great.
is the most depressing, Metalhead.
Yeah, I haven't seen that yet.
Which is just like,
Okay, go. Know which one to skip then.
don't skip it because
Yeah,
it's got to
of
pay
course,
off in the end. So Metalhead is about these 3 people trying to find something from a warehouse, and when they go looking for it, a robotic dog starts chasing them. And then this only one woman survives from that attack, and now she has to, for the entire next 1 hour, make sure that she's alive to be able to pass the message to the person she's talking to.
Fair enough.
And then we get a payoff saying what was the reason why she was struggling to stay alive.
Okay, I see.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yes, all right.
That sounds cool.
Yeah. But so Black Mirror.
I'll tell you which one to
safe.
skip.
It's still good.
It's still good.
I thought this was the worst episode of the lot. What's it called? Crocodile.
Yeah.
The lady in Iceland. It is. So it's like maybe one of the weakest episodes of
that's-
Black Mirror ever.
It's like, somebody wrote a thriller and said, how do we inculcate technology to make sure, we can make this
There's
episode
barely a technology angle to start with.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what little technology angle is there is very weak.
It's like one of
And
yours,
it has possibly the stupidest twist ending of all time.
Okay,
yeah,
fair enough.
Yeah.
I'm
So
a-
maybe
I'm
you
gonna
should
try
watch
so
it.
stupid.
It's
yeah.
so bad.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's like, I know what you did last summer sort of a thriller story.
Okay.
Basically, this girl and her boyfriend kill somebody when they're young and drunk.
Yeah.
And then that story
As
comes
in,
to
like,
haunt
they
them.
run away with the car. They don't
and
kill
then
him.
And then they basically bury him also under the ocean.
Yeah.
And then the fact comes to haunt her years later.
Okay.
And now she has to make sure that, she's a very respected person in society, so she has to make sure by any means
that
necessary.
her reputation is not.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
All right. It still sounds great though.
No,
I'm
but
still watching.
you'll watch it and you'll get what I'm saying.
Yeah.
It's
All
the
right.
most forced technological, thing in the entire series.
Fair enough. I felt like the poorest episode from the previous season was Shut Up and Dance. Was that the one? Yeah.
Yeah.
So there was no real message. I feel Black Mirror usually fails when they can't elicit a real theme. When there's no real kind of thought process happening.
Yeah.
Which is my same problem with Dunkirk. Anyway, all right. Let's take a short break. We come back. We'll talk about Jumanji.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Did you know India's most popular music festival was, in a way, conceived in Estonia? We speak to someone who knows a thing or two about making the NS7 Weekender happen.
Did you know that some termites in Africa have a pleasant minty flavor? And just as well, because we might all be eating them in a few years anyway.
Did you know that the world's greatest collection of human knowledge got its initial funding from a porn site? That's how Wikipedia started, and we tell you how it works.
Hey, I'm Chuck.
I'm Naren.
And I'm Sriket.
And together we're
Simplified.
Your fortnightly look at burning issues that you should know about.
Told to you in a way you'll understand, with humor, bad jokes, and PG Woodhouse references.
So that you can look smarter with minimal effort.
We're smart, funny.
Erudite and wise.
And ultra crepidarian.
Wait, what's that?
To find out, tune into our show. Episodes out every fortnight on all podcast apps near you. And on the IVM podcast app as well.
Oh yeah.
All right, we're back and we're doing a roundup of all the films and television shows that came out in January and a little earlier than that. So we've gone through Amazon Prime's Philip K. Dick's Electric Dreams. Wow, that's a lot.
Yes.
And Netflix's Black Mirror.
Based on the novel Push by Sapphire.
What?
That is the longest title I know.
For what?
Precious, based on the novel Push by Sapphire.
Pushed by Sapphire, is it?
Yeah.
Right, so we've covered those things. We're going to be talking about Jumanji, which came out in December, late December.
Jumanji, Welcome to the Jungle.
Welcome to the Jungle, Jumanji. It's not called Jumanji 2. It's just called Jumanji Welcome to the Jungle, is
Yes.
it?
Yeah.
Which is weird because The Rock has another movie called Welcome to the Jungle as well, which was earlier titled The Rundown.
What movie?
Yeah,
It's a very bad movie.
it was an awesome movie.
What?
It
He just
introduced
loves
me.
rocks too much.
It introduced me to the gloriousness of The Rock, and it also has.
Is it one of his family comedy type scenes?
No.
Yeah, no, it's just
a
an action
jungle adventure.
jungle adventure with Sean William Scott
Yeah.
and the legendary Christopher Walken. So yeah, it's great.
Huh?
Yeah, it's a good movie.
I have no idea what this movie is.
Yeah. Anyway, so it was around the time he was still doing his, weird
Scorpion King
comedies.
stuff,
No,
yeah.
it was a little after that, but Game Plan,
Right.
Gridiron Gang. I
Yeah,
think that was
yeah.
him. Was that him?
So,
Can't remember.
like, before he was a cool actor.
Yeah, before he was a cool actor.
He was still The Rock.
Yeah, he
What
was
what
still
movie did you think A Rock made it to the
to
big
change
house?
the
Yeah.
guy? I think Fast and Furious has definitely helped him change that. And what else? What else has The Rock done that?
There's a Michael Bay movie which he starred in with Mark Wahlberg.
Pain and Gain?
Yeah, I think he was
Yeah.
really good in that. Very funny.
Yeah,
in
it
that.
was a good movie. Yeah,
Anthony
yeah.
Mackie,
It's really good. Yeah.
Rock, and Mark Wahlberg. Really hilarious.
And plus, him doing Ballers and all that stuff has kind of credited him as a good actor. I think Ballers is where he acts well. And actually, he's really good in Jumanji, so I might as well talk about
I
that.
considered him an actor until Moana, to be honest.
Oh, fair
he's
enough.
an amazing guy and like
Oh,
literally
really?
just the most cool
But he's great in
magnetic
Moana.
dude. But Moana like changed my mind completely. He can act and sing.
Yeah, he can do anything.
He can
man.
do anything,
He
yeah.
can literally do anything.
So that's what. But he's the only saving grace in Jumanji for me. I hated the movie.
You've both seen it. I
Yeah,
have
yeah.
not.
I
Yeah, so you're not
disliked
seen
the
the
movie
movie.
from
No.
the bottom of my heart. I can't even begin. I was cringing throughout of the
Alright,
whole.
so the
Man,
movie
I missed it. Yeah,
is
give us the
great.
lowdown.
I really liked it. I
We have
thought it was.
different opinions.
I really enjoyed it.
Okay. First off,
So then
what's
you
happening
may
here?
pose your questions.
What is Jumanji Welcome to the Jungle about?
It's okay. He's gonna give you I'm just gonna give a premise without any
Judgment?
bias. Judgment.
Okay.
So the premise is that
There is no bias. I actually don't like it.
Okay, so the premise is it's very simple. It's a very simple idea. It's just that we see the board game from the ending of Jumanji, the original, and basically the board game finds its way to a kid's house and realizes that the kid is just like, who plays board games anymore? And he doesn't play it, and instead he plays video games. This is in the 90s, and so overnight the board
game
game
becomes-
transforms itself into a 8-bit, like a 16-bit Atari
video game?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
What?
it's done.
I
It's
face palmed so hard.
Yeah, that's
Okay,
messing with the
hold
canon.
Yeah, but it's hardly the point of the film, right? The point is to just move it on to the next phase, whatever.
Okay.
Very excusable. It's a Kevin Hart rock movie with Jack Black. What do you expect? Anyway,
Yeah.
So it's a very silly kind of thing, but whatever, it's there. And this kid kind of suddenly disappears, and it's in the same town as in Jumanji. And these 4 kids who are in school, all who have different hang-ups and whatever, get detention one day. And as you've seen in the trailers, they get sucked into this game while they're in detention.
Very
and
Breakfast Club ripoff.
yeah, essentially. And but you know what? So they get sucked into the game, and they realize the rules of the game and and they end up playing it, and that's the story. That's the
So
premise.
how do they find the adults? The Rock and the
The
Jack Black?
adults are the avatars in the game.
Oh, right.
So they
yes,
are playing
correct. I
all
forget.
of them.
Yes,
yeah.
this was in the trailers.
Yeah.
So I
that's-
spent 15 minutes investing in these kids who are supposed to be quirky characters, only to find out that they are different people altogether inside the
And
game.
they're being played by...
Yeah, but that's
what,
the
like
premise
the
of
Rock
the
is
film.
like a little girl or something like that?
No,
No,
the
no.
Rock is the Rock plays this guy who's he's a nerdy guy.
Yeah.
So it's
And
kind of
now
like the
he's The
opposite.
Rock.
And
Yeah.
but the Rock plays that character really well. I think he's
I'll give him
a
that.
good actor. So he plays the like actually shy and like kind of like he plays like a kid. Like you can tell that he's playing like a 15-year-old kid, from his facial expressions and everything. He's acted pretty well. Jack Black is the girl, is like
Stuck
the
in a
hot
girl's
girl
body.
who's like Instagramming all the time and like basically the prom queen type. And then there's one like girl who's like not like a tomboy, but basically she's just like the shy, weird, awkward girl. Who's played by Karen Gillan,
Breakfast
and
Club.
and the fourth
That
is
literally...
and the fourth is
jock.
the jock who's the
Yeah.
quarterback, and he's trying to keep his grades up, and he's getting his homework done by the Rock's character. So they used to be friends, but they're not friends anymore because one became cool, one didn't. And so in the game, the roles are reversed, right? Because this nerd is now like this huge buff guy,
Right.
and Kevin Hart plays this jock.
The jock.
So so it's kind of a role reversal thing. So the premise is perfectly fine, and from the very beginning of the film, it's a family-friendly kind of comedy film, right? It's family
Yeah.
kind of comedy. It's not Central Intelligence type, weird, crass humor. It's very family-friendly humor.
It's clearly geared towards like...
It's a huge
10-year-olds
mass
in the
film.
first
It's a
place?
mass film. This movie opened in China. This movie opened worldwide. I think that was the plan. Like, it's The Rock taking his brand, saying, what can we kind of co-opt?
What kind of content can we create with my brand?
Yeah, and they took Jumanji, and they made it a family-friendly action adventure, which I enjoyed for what it was. I thought it was good. I thought it was funny also. And it is actually funny. There's some really funny
Okay.
All
bits.
points made.
Naveen now has the floor.
No plot development or no character development at all. Kevin Hart is a short black guy throughout the movie. Jack Black is stuck in a woman's body throughout the movie.
Well, yeah, of course.
Karen
that's
Gillan is the
whole
hot girl who has to find herself at the end. Like, she gets one move at the end. Even there, she has to dance seductively to impress the girl. Everything that's poster. How do we even say it?
Stereotype.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Every stereotype is just like played along with. Bobby Cannavale, I love him as an
Yeah,
actor,
he's
but
kind of wasted in
he's
this.
very wasted as a villain. I did not buy it, man. Any of it. Like, I love the original Jumanji, and I think
but you shouldn't have gone in with thinking
You
that
have
this was
to.
going to be. No, you shouldn't. That's
especially when they use the same old board game and turn it into a video game. They're still using the old movie.
Okay, so
as a jumping point.
maybe we are too kind of into the the marketing. We already understood, but that's what they were trying to communicate with all the PR. They're saying that this is not a sequel. This is like a spin-off. It's, if anything, it's not a spiritual sequel at all. It's like them in the game, and they're doing completely different things, and they're very different themes from what the original movie was about. The original movie, which I rewatched before this, is about it's about family. It's about finding, basically kind of unearthing your fears and kind of like doing that. So
it's a coming of age movie where one of them's already come of age.
Exactly. Yeah. But my favorite thing about that movie, which I realized only very, very late, I did not even know this, by the way, but the hunter in the movie is played by the character's dad.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't know that. Okay, so it kind of blew my mind when I watched it again. I was just like, okay, that's what that's supposed to mean. So I kind of got different things out of the first Jumanji. And this movie, you're not supposed to take anything away. It's supposed to be like, a weird kind of breakfast club, but it's just like a family.
I missed the memo where they said you're not supposed to feel a certain way before going into Jumanji sequel. I generally feel that if you're going to pay,
I agree because they use the word Jumanji, and it is really Jumanji.
Tell me this, Tejas. Will you remember this movie in like 6 months?
Yeah, of course I will. I'll probably rewatch it at home with like my friends. It's like got that home video. Can you just put it on and you watch? It's like that kind of movie. And there are some genuinely good, funny moments in it. Like I disagree with what Naveen is saying. I think there's some really funny comedy because Jack Black is hilarious. He steals the entire movie for me at least, and he's really, really funny. And yeah, it's all stereotyped kind of stuff, but that you're not going in thinking like I said, this is not a Robin Williams movie. If Robin Williams was in this, I would be like, okay, cool, I'm going to pay attention, I'm going to watch it. But it's The Rock, it's Kevin Hart, it's Jack Black, it's Nick Jonas. It's just supposed to be a fun time of the movies, and that's what The Rock is trying to do with his brand anyway. Like, all the movies that he does is all like, it's got a little bit of a message, but mostly it's just like an enjoyable time popcorn film at the movies. So that's about it.
Whose movie is this? Which studio?
It is
20th Century Fox?
Should be Fox only.
Yeah,
it seems like
not
a Fox
sure.
thing. It feels like Fox went, well, we've got leverage with the Rock's brand and the Jumanji brand. How can we synergize these two to make some awesome
it's a synergized movie.
Yeah.
And you know what? For what it is, it's not bad.
I hate that entire previous sentence, but I see where you're coming from.
Yeah, but it's not bad. It's really, you know why?
It's Sony Pictures, by the way.
Yeah, it's Sony, sorry. And also it's a reliable watch. Let me put it that way. Okay, when you go to the cinema, you're gonna go, and this is not going for like The Darkest Hour or Shape of Water, whatever it is. But you're going to the cinema to watch like a movie which is just going to make you feel good and have a good time, just have a laugh.
So you walk in with low expectations,
I went in with
and you walk out with low expectations.
Yeah, but you're happy at the end.
Beat, like they have to just return the diamond to the end goal. That's the entire goal of the game, like a video game essentially.
Yeah, so what were you going to expect from this? Suddenly it was going to take a turn, like from the get-go, from the first 5 minutes of the movie, you know what kind of movie it's going to be.
And bad one.
Sure, okay, cool. I mean, we can't raise everything to the incredibly high standard of like, I don't know, man. Like it's supposed to be a simple
to be fair,
film.
If you were going to raise one movie to the standards of the old Jumanji, it's the new Jumanji.
No, I'm sorry, but Robin Williams is not in it, so no.
I'll tell you.
Yeah,
okay, I like one scene in the entire movie where they are finding out the character charts. Like this guy has this power. This guy, it's hilarious. Okay,
it's ridiculous. Yeah.
But now, okay, how many times will you call back to that? 5 times. Kevin Hart calls back to that whole scene 5 times in the entire movie after that, and that becomes overbearingly annoying because it's like you have nothing else to say. You're a one-trick pony as a character. And that's what you're doing.
all of them are one shade. That's about it. And like there's like one. Okay, there's one, just to prove how inane this like the plot can be. It's like one of the characters, Kevin Hart's character. It's like everybody has strengths and weaknesses, and his weakness is he can't eat cake. It has nothing to do with the movie. It has absolutely nothing to do with the movie. Okay, he can't eat cake. All right.
Why though?
That's just his weakness. That's his character's weakness. His avatar's weakness in the game. Like every character has like a weakness, right? He can't eat cake. And there's like, okay, cool. You're just like, okay, that's so bizarre. And invariably at some point he goes and he eats like cake and he dies. And it's so stupid. But it's like that's the movie. Like, you can't take anything more like from this movie. Like, you cannot request it for depth. You know what I mean? Yeah, that's the kind of movie it is.
I mean, Kevin Hart and The Rock are both like the most brand-aware guys at the... I can't remember the last time either of them made a movie in which they're not The Rock or Kevin Hart. Other than The Rock made Moana.
Yeah, but like, they're the classic hustler, man. Like, they just hustling.
And they're great at what they do. Like, I like Kevin Hart as well.
Yeah.
And his stand-up comedy is like surprisingly good. I didn't think it would be
it's not bad. It's mass. It's huge mass stand-up comedy.
well
but
done.
it's great. And like,
Dave
that's
Chappelle
what...
hates him.
Yeah. Dude, did you watch Dave Chappelle's?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Oh,
Wow.
speaking of Dave Chappelle, let me tell you a great story which I saw on John Mayer's Instagram stories. So he did this whole thing, I think literally yesterday, where he was like, I'm going to be Instagram's first demotivational speaker. And so he's like, I'm going to start by addressing Kevin Hart. It's like, hey, Kevin Hart.
Who's this, Dave Chappelle?
No, John Mayer.
Oh, John Mayer.
He's
okay.
hilarious. He's like, so I'm going to talk about giving it your some. Then he goes like, Kevin Hart, you keep giving it your all. Give it your some, man. Be like the rest of us. Then he goes like, I was watching you in a movie the other day. You were talking to The Rock. The camera cuts to The Rock, and in that time you went off and made another movie and came back.
Yeah. No, John Mayer is great on Instagram.
And he's hanging out with Dave Chappelle, so he's getting funnier.
Man, wow, Dave Chappelle, man. Like the two specials that he just put out, wow, this blew my mind.
Mm-hmm.
It was so good. Anyway, coming back, Jumanji, it's not terrible. It's just a family movie. Watch it with kids. Watch it with your family, and you'll have a decent time.
I feel like we've laid it out pretty clearly for the listener and for me.
Yeah.
I'm not watching this movie until maybe one day when I have nothing to do and I find it on Prime Video. I'll be like,
exactly.
fine,
That's
let's watch
exactly the
Jumanji.
kind of movie it is. And you know what? You'll watch it, and you'll be entertained.
I'll be mildly amused.
Yes.
I'll say fine, whatever.
You'll be entertained.
Like,
So
yeah.
that's the thing. Like, I went for this movie with my girlfriend. We were just like, had absolutely nothing to do. And we just went, bought popcorn, watched it. And we were just like, wow, that was, we killed 3 hours like perfectly. Like, that was the perfect way.
It's a kill time movie.
Yes, it is that. And it's great for what it is. So that's why I liked it. Yeah.
Well,
all
yeah,
right.
Yeah.
fair enough. Brands will be brands, content will be content.
and why I say that is because there are lots of
it's
movies.
literally the definition of content.
No, I'll
A
tell
way
you why,
to
because there are
fill
lots
the
of
time.
movies which I can't watch, which don't kill the time. And I'll tell you two movies which are perfectly good examples of this. Valerian and Ghost in the Shell. Both movies I tried to watch, and you'd think that, ooh, science fiction concept, all that stuff. I went and I was like, my brain is blank. I just want to watch something cool, which looks nice on my new TV, whatever. And I went and I watched it, and I just couldn't keep up, man. I was just
There's
like,
a reason though,
this
right?
is rubbish.
Both of those were so ambitious. Like they were
Yeah.
both trying to create
no,
like a huge
1 second.
world.
But the stories are not at all ambitious
I'm not saying
at
they're
all.
good.
Valerian sucks, dude.
Yeah, they might be terrible, but they're,
I love Luke Besson.
And yet, Valerian is still better than Ghost in the Shell.
Yeah.
they're shooting for the moon and they're failing and
No,
landing up
that's
way.
my thing. I don't think they were shooting for... They're not trying to go into a deeply, pretentiously kind of complex
No, I
plot.
don't mean in that sense, but
just
Valerian was
visually...
trying to build a whole
because
world, right?
They are dumbing it down for American audiences. That's
Just
like,
visually, yeah, sure. But like visually, you can do anything, man. You can just pour like a shit ton of like money onto something and make amazing graphics. Anybody can do that. But like... What Jumanji does is that it takes whatever little kind of money. I don't think it was made on a terribly huge budget or
The
anything.
graphics are pretty good, though.
Yeah, the graphics are serviceable and whatever.
And they use real locations, which I'll give them.
Hawaii, the same place where they shot Jurassic World, and whatever. And they gave me a movie where I just laughed, and I was just like, I love The Rock. So anyway, this is great. And yeah, and that's it, man. So
Shall I compare it to going to a restaurant where they serve burgers and McDonald's? Where you could be going into a restaurant,
It's McDonald's.
and the burger might be
It's
good or
friggin'
it might be
McDonald's.
terrible.
Exactly.
But in McDonald's, you know what you're getting.
Exactly,
It's like
exactly
McDonald's,
that. It's McDonald's, and you know what? Friggin' McDonald's can be great sometimes. So yeah,
And their
Sometimes
fries
McDonald's is
don't
the perfect thing.
yeah.
You can't digest their fries, by the way.
Yeah, now some of them have become really bad. Some branches just don't know how to cut it, man.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Literally.
They all come pre-packed, by the way. I've seen their...
I can't.
You know,
I don't want to know, man. I don't
they
want to
come in
know.
boxes.
Don't tell me. Don't tell me. I don't want to know how it's
It's
made.
a gruesome
Everything.
tale.
I don't want to know how the
thing actually
nuggets
gets
are.
made.
Man, I just
Even
like
the
no.
Subway sauces are all like, pre-packed.
Don't, man. Don't. Why would you do this?
All right.
All right.
What do you guys think of McDonald's content, though?
I'm loving it.
Nice.
All right. We're going to take a short break, come back, and we're going to quickly run through some of the Oscar nominations that we're quite impressed with and want to talk about.
Long, long ago, not in Bethlehem, but in a place nearby, there was a wonderful birth of a huge show, which I like to call Cyrus Says, a show that encapsulates everything in human history, From the first Homo sapien to the last Homo sapien, who's traversed the entire world and then come back to India. This is a show which tells you everything about everything. If you want to know, avoid Google, come to us. It's called Cyrus Says. Get new episodes every Monday on the IVM Podcast app or wherever you get your podcasts on. You get one banana vada free with every podcast. Right. I'll just check that.
All right, we're back. We're doing a January roundup, which we have rounded up now. And now we're just going to quickly go through some of the Oscar nominations that have just been released. And some surprising stuff. And also some really pleasing stuff for us nerds. I feel like every year it gets better for nerds at the Oscars and all these big award shows. And the big one, obviously, here is The Shape of Water.
Yeah, massive.
Yeah.
The most nominated movie this year.
13.
8.
Okay.
No, 13.
13?
Nominations, yeah.
13 nominations.
Oh, yeah, you're
Call
right.
Me By Your Name has 8.
13 nominations. That is a ton.
That's like the most. I think it's one of the highest.
And I
if
think
not,
when I do watch the movie, I'll finally you end up crying because I just like.
I just love Guillermo.
I love his storytelling.
Dude,
Like,
Guillermo del Toro, like I was just saying before we started recording, I think this is his year. Like, I hope this movie does for his career what it should have been for the last 20, 25 years,
Yeah.
you know, like with Pan's Labyrinth. He's put out like consistently good stuff.
Good stuff, yeah.
Yeah, so he really deserves
And he's
this.
always been loved and respected, but in the
Yeah, like
critic
people like
and
no,
nerd
but like you know,
community.
people be like, oh, he's just that funny little filmmaker. You know, he's not like a dramatic filmmaker, which he is.
Yeah.
He totally is.
From South America.
Yeah. He's fantastic. I mean, like at the Golden Globes, he gave a really, really impassioned speech about monsters, and it's nice to see things that we love being taken very seriously as a dramatic device. You know, and similarly, and our boy Doug Jones is back in this film as Abe Sapien Alpha or Beta, the Beta version of Abe Sapien.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, The Shape of Water, we haven't seen it yet, but it looks great. I mean, just the tonal quality of whatever I've been seeing in the trailers and stuff looks excellent. Looks like a great period piece as well.
And Sally Hawkins has that face. You know,
Man,
like,
I love Sally Hawkins, dude.
She's like your
I
girl
love
next
her.
door, but you want
She's
to have
great.
tea with her and chit chat with her.
Yeah, she's so good. And man, it's got Michael Shannon, who I've always felt is just like an amazing actor. From the time I saw him Revolutionary Road, I think he's fantastic in that. He's so good. Obviously the boy is Zod. Let's just go through some of the names that make us excited for this Oscar award season. It is Dunkirk, sure, because Nolan, so he's got some.
No,
I don't think
it's his first nomination ever.
it is his first nomination.
Yeah, which is odd, no?
His first
Because it's
but he
possibly
wasn't he
his
nominated
biggest
for
nominee.
Best Director earlier, and not Best Picture, Best Director.
Oh no!
Or was
then
Inception nominated but not for
perhaps
Best
it's his
Director?
first nomination as director,
Perhaps.
and maybe Inception or was it Dark Knight Rises?
No, I don't think Rises at all got anything. But I mean, his films have had some technical
it's his first
awards.
nomination. Yeah,
Yeah, but
he's never been big at the Oscars, which I get.
Which a lot of people have always, spoken up about. I mean, Heath Ledger did get a posthumous Oscar for his role as, as the Joker. But
I get
man.
Nolan not being like an Oscars guy though. He's
That's what Dunkirk is now. I think a very solid
A very
attempt at-
Oscar-y movie?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Do you think
maybe
it's his attempt, or did he really just want to tell the story though?
I think it's certain. Like right now, at this
Yeah,
point,
fair enough.
he's just trying to pull tricks out of his hat. I would
Yeah.
say ass, but it's Nolan.
But I just want him to kind of he should just do what he's good at, keep doing that. I mean, he should do Bond, he should. I mean, Sam Mendes has done Revolutionary Road, which I just mentioned, and he's done James Bond, and it's Sam Mendes. No one's going to say that he's not a good dramatic director.
Yeah.
And I think after Dunkirk, maybe he just needed to do this one. He just needed to get
Let's
this
see
one
what he
out.
comes back with.
So we've got that. We've got The Shape of Water. What else do we have for directing? He's nominated Jordan Peele, man, for Get Out. This is hilarious.
also Greta
From Key and
Gerwig.
Peele.
But that's insane.
This is like this. This is reminding me of the time when this guy from Flight of the Conchords won an Oscar for
I know.
best song for Man or Muppet.
Or when what's his name, the dean from Community won an
Jim
Oscar
Rash.
for
Jim Rash.
Jim Rash.
Yeah.
Jim Rash and his writing partner won for The Descendants.
Yeah, for The Descendants.
And I'm like, it's the freaking dean.
yeah, it's Dean.
So
yeah.
absurd. Yeah.
Yeah.
But
he
this
should
is
have come on stage like saying something about the Oscars, but how he always makes his entry in Community.
Yeah.
When he's
the
rapping in it. He did get on stage and make fun of Angelina Jolie's leg thing.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
Wow, I gotta watch this. This is
Good
great.
dean to you.
Yeah, good Dean to you.
But this is a great time for Oscars because they have a black guy and a woman on their best directors list.
Yeah.
Which is
About
like-
time, man.
And you're right. It's a great time for the Oscars.
Yeah, exactly.
Well done,
Time's
Oscars.
up. Time's up, Oscars.
Yeah.
Like what they said what did Seth Meyers say? It's like Oprah Winfrey is nominated, is the recipient of the Cecil B. DeMille Award.
Yeah.
And what an honor it is for Cecil B. DeMille. Which is just great.
It's true though.
Oh man. All right. So
Oscars getting woke. I love
yeah,
it.
I like
Even
it.
Octavia Spencer
about
has
time.
a nomination.
I think it's not her first time though. I think she's been
After
nominated.
The
before.
Help, yeah.
I feel like
Yeah.
Octavia Spencer
She's amazing.
and maybe Viola Davis, they're like reaching
Man.
Meryl Streep levels.
Yeah.
Dude,
like
like,
anything they do,
and
they're
I
like
just-
done. Nomination.
Have you
an
watched
article-
Hidden Figures? Oh man,
Yeah.
I love that
It's a
movie.
good
What
It's
a
so great.
solid movie.
Yeah, what a great movie.
Last year's Oscar bait, no?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But Octavia Spencer had this great talk before Sundance where she spoke about how Jessica Chastain really vied for her to get like equal salary or at least more than her because black actors are paid less in Hollywood.
They're still being
So they're trying to make a new amendment where through which they can get more money because of already there's like white actors get more money, then women get less, then black actors even less than that, and for a black woman then even worse.
Wow.
So it's
Yeah,
just
that's
like,
the lowest.
That's nuts,
yeah,
dude.
yeah.
That's crazy. Let's move on. Adapted screenplay. Logan.
Yes.
Scott Frank, James Mangold, Michael Green. That is awesome. How good is
So
that?
what are they considering it as having been adapted from? As Old
well,
Man
from
Logan?
from Old Man Logan. It's an adaptation. It's not a completely new character or anything,
guess,
right? It's all
yeah.
based off the X-Men comics. How great is this?
Yeah.
This is amazing. I love it.
Yeah.
Wow, that's so good. Disaster Artist as well. Nominated, but we can skip that.
But right now not featuring so much because of the allegations that have come out against James
Yeah,
Franco.
that's
I think that's why he probably
situation,
won't.
right?
He won't win.
Show up,
yeah,
yeah.
he won't. I mean, he won't. Yeah, he's not nominated. That is, he won for the Golden
Golden
Globes.
Globes, yeah.
Yeah, which
And
is-
surprisingly
he's
good
completely
movie.
missing here.
Yeah,
Star Wars: The Last Jedi, best music score.
John Williams, right?
Yes.
Dude.
Solid.
As
And the score this time is particularly good. There's this. I was just reading this great New Yorker article on how he created these new leitmotifs for The Last Jedi
Yeah,
specifically. It's amazing.
yeah, it's good stuff.
But yeah, well done.
Rose's theme is great. Yeah, dude. Actually, my favorite theme from these new films has been Rey's theme, man. From like Force Awakens,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
beautiful,
Oh, so nice.
man. So beautiful. I did want to point out that our other, what we thought was one of the most underrated films of last year, which is Blade Runner 2049, has a ton of nominations, man. It's like a bunch of technical awards, but cinematography for Roger Deakins. It's got production design. It's got visual effects. Man, it's got a bunch of stuff, man, which is really
Definitely
good
get
too.
some of them.
Man,
Yeah, I
visual
should.
effects. Oh god, I finally watched the movie by the way.
You did, huh?
And that scene where it too merged the artificial intelligent girl
And the
Gadget.
dude, that's nuts,
my
man.
God.
That just blew some
that is
minds.
breaking barriers beyond like nobody thought about that.
Yeah.
And you know what makes a unique director is the fact that nobody does that and then you do it and then everybody wants to copy you.
Yeah, that's
right?
true.
What Ridley Scott did back in the 80s and now I think Villeneuve
They've
is
kind
just
of you've taken it to another level,
Another
man.
level,
yeah.
Wow, it's excellent. Star Wars has a couple of other nominations for sound mixing and sound editing. I did want to talk about one thing. I don't know, but this is like something that's been bothering me. So this is a conundrum I have. You guys watched The Greatest Showman?
No, not yet.
Okay, so I watched it. You guys, it's an average film. Okay, it's an average film. But I was just like, the songs are very contemporary. It's not supposed to be set in that period of time or anything. It's about P.T. Barnum, the first,
The Greatest Showman.
the
The
Greatest
circus
Showman,
dude.
the circus dude. And so the songs were pretty like, okay, I watched them. I was like, this is like tween kind of pop stuff.
Yeah.
Then I went home and I listened to the soundtrack again, and now I love it. So I listen to it a lot, and it's just shameless.
So
It's
you go back
guilty
home,
pleasure.
listen to the album again, and go like, "Man, this is some good content."
No, and here's the other thing. It made me retroactively like the movie, which is the first time this has happened. Like, I was just like, wait, that was a really good
I've
movie.
heard the music of the movie. I think it's good.
I think it is
Because
really
it
nice.
was fine,
what
but
Hugh
it's
Jackman
very
did,
memorable.
It's randomly it's like your straight up pop, like
Yeah.
today's
But
dance pop
for
kind
the
of stuff.
premiere opening, they took the entire street and
Yeah.
they did an
Yeah,
opening.
that
video.
was
Really,
really
Yeah.
cool.
No, and so full respect to Hugh Jackman, and I love Zac Efron and Zendaya. I like Zendaya now,
Yeah.
not as much as when I watched Homecoming, but anyway. So this is the conundrum that I am in. Best original song has a bunch of songs won by Sufjan Stevens. Sufjan Stevens could win an Oscar, which is
Call
awesome.
Me by Your Name?
Yeah, for Mystery of
That's
Love.
a great song.
It's a good song, yeah. So we'll give it that. But which also means, by the way, that Sufjan Stevens is going to perform at the Oscars, which is going to be
Yay.
amazing.
Yeah.
But the one thing I just want to say is that This Is Me, the song from The Greatest Showman, which is their flagship song, which is won the Golden Globe as well, is not my favorite song. But it is the Jai Ho of this album.
Yeah.
And it is the Jai Ho in the sense that it's probably going to win. But the song that should win is Remember Me from the movie Coco, which is one of my top 10 films of last year.
Yeah.
And did you watch Coco?
I did.
You did?
But again,
It's one of my favorite movies. Okay,
yeah,
we'll get to it. We'll get to it. I can't deal with another movie that I like that you hate in one episode. But it is a fantastic song, and I think it should win. But I'm also kind of want Greatest Showman to kind of get...
Why?
But as in only because I like the soundtrack. But Remember Me is a better song, so...
Cool.
This is the best song. So I just wanted to put that
Point
out
taken, Academy.
yeah. And when they play it at the Oscars, if you've seen Coco, you will cry again.
There are feels, a lot of feels.
There are too many feels.
Cool. I look forward to this.
All right, that's our episode. Thank you guys for being here. And if you want to follow you on Twitter, how can they do that?
I'm no_Rona.
And Dinkar?
I'm not on Twitter, but I'm on Instagram as @TheChipReview.
What happened to you?
Okay, good. All right. At the Chip Review.
I am on Twitter as @DingsThings,
Yeah.
but I've launched a new stream of content.
Consciousness.
So you're just like... You're
No, it's content.
You're abandoning the old content for the sake of the new one.
The old content agrees, but I'm changing my brand and now I'm focusing more on chip reviewing content.
We review chips.
I review
And
chips.
sodas.
And sodas.
Nice. Cool.
All right. And I'm at Tejas. Okay, cool. That's the episode.
Gotta up your brand, man.
Yeah.
All right.
Check out IVM Podcast on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram as well. Cool new shows and podcasts every week.
Yeah. All right. See you later, you nerds.
There she stands, a podcast addict. Outside the bank, having travelled several miles to get in with other poor souls like her. The journey, though daunting for this youngling, will have some comfort because she has downloaded her favourite podcast. You can see more of her species on ivmpodcasts.com, your one-stop destination where you can check out the coolest Indian podcasts. Happy listening.